Welcome to Ben's OP Game Show. We're live at 3 p.m. Pacific Time every Friday right here, twitch.tv/GameFanatics. On this week's show, we'll be talking about the National Novel Writing Month, the NaNoWriMo, and kind of some pathways to success because I've done it. And we'll do it again. Sounds like a threat, but maybe it is. And also, I've been in the show for about a year, roughly at this day, maybe a couple days over a year. This is the 52nd episode, I believe. So I'm going to look back at some of my favorite moments of the first year. Very self-indulgent, very much only for me, but this whole show is only for me. So it makes sense, right? I think so. But first, let's take a look at some of the top stories, some of my favorite stories of the week. And this week wasn't really full of a lot of stuff. So. You know. There we go. So we had seen the leaked Pokemon final forms of the starters, and I'm not hugely impressed. And we'll get to why a minute. And again, because I keep talking about these stupid starters because they are the worst. But we have their names now, which I don't know if we had their names before. Just go into it right away. This is the grass starter. Its name is Decidueye? I don't really understand the name at all. Is it deciduous? Deciduous? Like a tree? I can't even talk about. It's a stupid tree. I don't know. But this is very clearly the coolest one. Very obviously. So if I get this game, this will be the one I pick. It's also grass and ghost, which is awesome. Get to that in a minute too, but I think we need to start moving away from fire, water, grass as the trifecta. There are other rock, paper, scissors Pokemon types we can have as starters instead of these three. That's all I'm saying. That's all. Now here's the final of the fire starter, Incineroar. Not huge on the name. It is a pun, and it is fine, but as has been mentioned, why did the cute cat have to turn into wrestly fighty man? Why? And the worst of the three, but definitely better than its first form, Primarina. I don't like it. I don't like this little mermaid pose it's doing. I'm not into it. Not into it at all. It is clearly the best form of all the Poplomeranian. I don't know. Who cares? They're terrible. Oh, this is also Water Fairy and Fire Dark was the other one. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Because there's other Pokemon in this game that I thought were more interesting. Way more interesting. So each island in Pokemon Sun and Moon has its own little guardian creature, I think it's called. Doesn't matter. There are these Tapu Pokemon. So this is Tapu Bulu. Alright, interesting. Not amazing, but interesting. This is Grass Fairy. Alright. This is Tapu Lele. Cute. Psychic Fairy. Alright. Tapu Fini. Look at that. I'm digging it. Not bad. Water Fairy. Tapu Koko. I'm not wild on these names, but I like the Pokemon. Electric Fairy. Now here's the deal with all of these. I understand it's 4, and you start the game and you pick starters out of 3, right? I understand that. These 4, much more visually interesting, much more appealing than any of the starters in this game, any of their forms, except for maybe a couple you could argue. I would much rather pick one of these. Like, why can't I just pick one of these? No? I can't pick one of these. And even some of these other side Pokemon they keep showing are much better or more interesting than the starters. Why can't... Again, why are we stuck in this grass, fire, water garbage? Why can't I pick an electric one to start? Why aren't there 9 starter Pokemon? Then you can pick a ghost starter, which would probably be a bad decision, or a fairy starter, or a bug starter. I don't really get it, and I do like the idea that they're finally adding types. They added different types to the Pokemon starters before. Like, there have been firefighting twice. This one's fire dark, but it was close to firefighting, and it looks like it still is firefighting based on its appearance. And now there's, you know, water fairy, grass ghost. Those are interesting combinations. But I'd like to see more. I'd like to see them do more with it and make better Pokemon designs. These are really not... Poplio? That's the best you could come up with. It's awful. Bidoof. It's a Bidoof. Look how shitty it is. I don't understand it. I don't understand that Pokemon. Why can't I... Look at how... These are cool. This is an interesting idea for these Pokemon. They have their own little special move, whatever. The starters themselves, really not doing it for me. I don't know. Probably the last time I'm going to complain about the starters, because I've done it maybe 10 times at the opening of the show. It's a little much. I will admit it's a little much, but they're terrible. They're really bad. They are really not good. No, 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 no. No. I was like, I just looked at my screen and I was like, what the fuck is that thing on me? That's your mouse. That's your mouse cursor. It's on the screen. It's been there the entire time. I figured it out. Solved the mystery. With that, that's all the news. There's not a lot going on this week. There's some No Man's Sky stuff going on today. Remains to be seen if anything will happen with that, and if I even care. Because I don't. Y'all got too excited about No Man's Sky. This is the world you live in. You did this to yourself. This happened because of you. And me a little bit. Just a little bit, though. I'm not definitely... not as much as fault. Alright. Topics of the week. It's happening. This is the best of show. Starting out, the worst. Yes, let's go back to that for a second. Put the Pokemon back up. I do agree. I think No Man's Sky is fun. I enjoyed the game. I played it 25 hours or so. I'll play it again. It's fine. Is it the best game ever? No. But I went into it with the proper expectations, and I didn't cry and whine because I expected something more. I mean, I understand people can be upset, but at the same time, if you were worried about it or concerned, you should have just waited a week, and everyone would have told you what was wrong with it. But if you wanted in on that first day, that's to yourself. I don't know. I mean, it's a whole thing. But I do think the game's fine. It's not the best, not the worst. It's a game. It's a game that happened. I actually liked it quite a bit. Some of the best moments of gaming this year to me have been No Man's Sky. Like going over a hill and seeing these crazy creatures flying around. That's awesome. I love exploring, so I'm super down with that. Here's some Pokemon. Now moving on now. Boop, boop, boop. Moving on to the not gaming section of the show. Alright. Oh, look at that. That's gonna load. Okay. So, there's this thing, as I'm under the logo, that's cool. This thing called National Novel Writing Month, which is November. It's happening very soon. NaNoWriMo. I'm not sure if I like that little moniker they made, but whatever. That's what it's commonly referred to as. Good luck trying to remember how to spell that, even though it's all the first letters of the name. I somehow am just the worst at it. So the goal of this is to write a novel in a month, or really just write a lot. It's up to you. It's a personal thing. It's up to you to write whatever you want in the month, 50,000 words. Now, that's a lot of words, in case you were curious as to how many words is that. It's a lot of words, and if you write something, it's going to be roughly printed on a little paperback thing. It's going to be about 100 something pages, 115, 20, something like that, depending. That's how much 50,000 words is going to be in a little book. I don't have my book because I have done this. I have done this for the last 3 years, not including this year because that hasn't happened yet. And I've succeeded every year. And so I'd kind of like to talk about it because I don't even talk or tell anyone that I've written. One year I didn't write a book. I just kind of did other writings, but I've written 2 novels, like full complete books. Which is, I mean, maybe fewer than 10 people know that I've even done that. Because they're not for sale. I'm not really gonna ever show them to anyone. Like, I just did it. I just did it for fun. And I do think National Novel Writing Month is super fun, but it can be very daunting, and there is a lot of work to do to meet that 50,000 word count. Is crazy, and maybe you might want to not even go there, right? You might want to start with a lower goal and see if you can reach that. It's a personal thing. It's an honor system anyway. If you lie about meeting the goal, that's really just like you're only screwing yourself over. It's not a competition. Well, it kind of is, because I win. No. So here's some tips. Since I've done it for 3 years, and sometimes I've completed. The first year I did it, I had like a couple extra days. Then last year, it was like the last hour. So it can vary, and there's some things you can do. Let me scroll down on my little notes here. Look at this. Oh, green screen, damn it. So it is a good idea to prepare, but there's also a bad idea. And for some people who write will want to have notes and an outline and all this. For the last 3 years, I didn't have more than the setup. Like, I knew how I wanted it to start, and I knew kind of some story events and where it was going, the end. And then I just wrote, right? Then you start and you go. Not a lot of preparation, but it can be good to prepare, because this year I am outlining more or less the entire idea I have. And it's taking a lot of time to do that, more than I thought. And that's good. And it's definitely a personal thing, and you want to make sure, regardless of which one you are prepared in how much preparation you have. Because you don't want to be starting on November 1st going, what should I write about? No. You should have the idea. You should be going forward with that already. You should know some characters and some plot points. Maybe you haven't written anything down yet necessarily, but you have an idea. The 1st of November for this is not a brainstorm day. It should be, here's the start of the story, let's go. And the goal, I would say, for the first day, write a couple thousand words. You need to write 1,667 words a day, which is a lot. It can be a lot, depending. So I would say the first day, when you're maybe super motivated and into it, you do a lot. On the weekends, you do a lot. We'll get to that with the time management one right here. A lot of these are based on time management, because that's the biggest thing. You might think, oh, I can write 1,600, almost 1,700 words a day, and you might be able to. It's not a super challenging thing to sit down and write 1,700 words. The thing is doing it every day, and then you start, as the month goes on, this day's a little short, and this day's a little short. And then you get to a point where you look at the calendar and go, well, I have a lot of time on the weekends, so if I write 4,000 words this Saturday, and then on Sunday another 4,000 words, that's when problems start happening, and the crushing weight of the 50,000 word count hits you. So you don't necessarily want to do that. You want to kind of meet that and exceed that. So if you can get out the gate with like 2,200 words, and then the next day maybe it's 1,500, just a little bit under, but you gave yourself a little padding. And whenever you can, you should be doing that. But also whenever you can, you should be writing. You should be writing. And this goes to my next kind of tip here. Oh, thanks for the logo being all messed up. Oh no. Alright, it got tabbed. Find a schedule. So whether it's you get home from work and you eat and then you write for a couple hours, do that. Maybe you wake up in the morning and you want to write. I don't know. That's weird to me. But whatever. You're going to need time for this. You're going to need a couple hours a day for sure-ish. I don't know. Some people maybe can write really quickly. But if you're one of those people who gets writer's block, which we'll get into in a minute, you're going to need a couple hours dedicated to this time. And it needs to be in an environment that is most comfortable for writing. So if you have a chair or whatever you like, pick the chair. I don't have to describe that anymore. Pick that's going to be the best, because you want to succeed. You want to put your phone away. You want to. I do all this on a computer on my old laptop that doesn't have a lot of my logins, so I can't look at Twitter or Facebook or anything like that. I haven't looked at Facebook in 6 months, but that's besides the point. You put it off to the side somewhere where you can't be distracted as much. Put on Spotify or anything and just go into it. Maybe even make a playlist for it. I remember there was, well, like every year that I've done this, I can think of like, oh, I remember I listened to Metric's discography as the first thing I listened to for the first year I did this. And that was awesome. That was the first couple of days of just listening through their like 6 albums or so at the time. I remember that. The year after that, there was this one song, I don't know who did it, but I kept like, this is a really cool song, and I kept putting it in the playlist over and over. And it was a motivational thing. I'm like, yeah, that song again. I'm going to keep writing. I really like the song. And I haven't listened to that song in probably 2 years, which is a good time now to start listening to it again. You want that. You want that good environment. Now, once you find that good environment, you find the schedule and you stick to it. That's the other thing. You have to stick to it. As soon as you start slipping and going, 200 words today isn't that bad, that's when you fail. That is straight up when you don't make it anymore. And it can be, I'm in the logo. It can be a bit of a sacrifice, because a couple hours a day dedicated to anything is going to cut into everything. And I think that's fine if you want to do this. If you're writing a novel, if you're even thinking about attempting this, you're probably, more skewed to wanting to do it anyway. This isn't something you'd randomly like, I guess I'll do this on a Saturday. My internet completely died. That's good. Hey, that's back. So there's that. But you're still going to have to sacrifice time. Like, this is maybe, like I play a lot of video games. I'm not going to play a lot of video games next month. I'm just not. Like maybe you like going out wherever, to a bar, to a circus, to the OK Corral. Probably not going to go to either of those places, any of those places, over the next month. And you shouldn't. You shouldn't want to. You should want to do this novel. It's a very fun and exciting thing to look at a Word document in a couple of weeks and be like, this is pages and pages and pages and pages. And I think that's great. I think it's awesome to do it. It's a very kind of overcoming your personal demons in certain respects of getting through it all. and coming out the other side with a novel. Even if you fail, that's fine. As long as you don't write 5,000 words and give up in a week, then I'll give it to you. You know, like you gave it a try. But it's not that difficult if you just make some sacrifices and go into it. And the final tip, here you go, is to just write. Like just write. There are moments when you're not going to know, how do I get this character out of this situation, or like where is this going? Or what if I like, oh, I don't like how that happened, and you're gonna feel like you should sit there and plan it all out and think about what's going on and get too much in your own head. You need to be writing. 50,000 words is a lot. You need to be writing. You can't get hung up on, well, how should I describe this school bus? And you sit there for half an hour thinking and not describing or writing anything about the school bus. This is stuff like that you can do on a second draft when you're reading through it again and going, yeah, it was yellow and whatever. You can just go with the details. There's going to be moments where you get inspired to write something like a fight scene or something, and you're going into it and you don't want to get hung up on, well, what if they and if they crash through the wall, like, but how does that, and maybe I need to look up some judo and maybe I should use some terms, like maybe you should, maybe now isn't the time is the thing. And if you ever get stuck on a plot point, it really, I like to write, like the first two novels I wrote were very much just fly by what's happening. Like we're just going. Let's see where we're going. And I'd get my main character trapped somewhere. Like, okay, there's this one sequence to a book no one will ever read where he's captured. It takes place in like the space and they're just flying around. He gets captured, and before he gets captured, he stows away 3 or 4 items. And when I stowed away those items, I had no idea what I'd do with any of them. I just picked 4 items that I thought were interesting, that would be on the ship, that he could hide, etc. And then when he was captured, and they kind of talked through that, I walked myself through the scene as I'm writing the scene as it's happening, basically, in my mind. I don't really know where it's going to go or like what any of this does. And I was able to look at those items because now I'd written another 500 or whatever words past that point where I picked the items, had a little bit of time for them to kind of gestate in my mind, and I knew what to do with them. Okay, he can throw this over here, and that's going to distract this guard or whatever, and you can get out via this. You can kind of set yourself up these interesting little challenges of how do I get out of this? And that can be fun. Maybe that's daunting or whatever to not know what's happening or where it's going. But as long as you have that focal point or focus of, well, that's a focal point, where it's going, you can get there. If you want them to escape, you just have to know that. You don't have to know exactly how. You can get there however you get there. Does that make any sense? Probably not. No one's watching. But that's the point I'm trying to make, is writer's block. I don't think it necessarily, I think it's entirely avoidable. You get stuck and not know where to go. So maybe now is when you go back and add those details in to the bus, right? And then while you're doing that, you go, oh, but what if the character did this? And then you go back to where you were. Or you know there's something more you want to add to another scene later that's coming up. Write that scene and connect them. Some people write out of order. That's fine. Do that. Don't get hung up on something. Just because you don't know how to get out of this scenario or whatever, don't get hung up on it. Maybe it needs a surprise. You know, maybe it needs something coming out of the blue to kind of jolt the writing back to where it needs to be. And again, this isn't final. You're not turning this in and never going to be able to touch it again. So it's fine if it's like a little loose and like, I don't know, and then some things happen, and now we're continuing. You can do that on a second pass, and all these NaNoWriMo demos, I've done that. I've gone back. I'll usually go back once I'm at like 25,000 words, I'll go back and read the first 1,000 and edit and add stuff as I'm going, which kind of keeps characters to be the same and kind of ground yourself. And you can add in little details that are references to the future, or even as you're writing further, you can add details of the past. I think that's a fun time. But if anyone watches this, good luck. I think it's a fun thing to do. You don't have to win. Just trying makes you a winner. Unless you give up, then you're a loser. Don't be a loser. Don't do it. Don't do it. Now I'll go back to my normal video games and other assorted talk. But this whole episode is the best of the first year, so it's very self-indulgent. The entire thing. Because it's for me, not for you. It should be for you. Nope. Hey, the Pokemon are back. Guess whose ear is itchy? Mine. In case you were gonna guess. Mine. Oh no, it's Inception. It's me and me. Me and me. Together at last. Okay, so this is, oh god damn it. This is me and me. That's what this is. You know, things happen and that you don't understand. There. Okay, so I prepared for the first year. I went back through everything, more or less. Found the clips I liked the most. There were certain moments that I remember happening that I want to highlight and talk about. And I made this way too long video. And I even cut stuff out. And I'm going to cut a lot more out. But this is the super self-indulgent director's cut version of the best of that I made. So I'm going to watch this and talk about it and give some background for some of these things. So this is the first episode right here. What the hell is that? Oh, that's on my shirt, I guess. This is the first episode. And this is talking about when Hideo Kojima went missing and Konami didn't know where he was. That's what this is. It's very exciting. Excuse the entire self-indulgentness of this episode. We have to take the search globally. Because we have to find this man. No one knows where he is. And in this segment that I'm liking to call, where in the world is Hideo Kojima? Where is he? Will you please tell us? I love, the best part about this too was I made a bunch of photoshops of Hideo Kojima popping out of desk drawers and out of like cardboard boxes for no goddamn reason. Oh man, this is gonna take forever to get through. That was 15 seconds. Oh god. And some of this is embarrassingly stupid and I love it. I love how dumb it is. It's so dumb. We'll talk about how stupid and cutesy the little UI is. Why would you spend, it's like missiles, boop, 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 boop. Why is morph ball required? It's like this big on the screen. This is a visor on your face. Why is morph ball? You know it's morph ball mode. You changed into it. It's your fucking suit. You don't need it to tell you that. Alright. That's, oh, I always look like I'm stoned out my ass. that there's this Metroid fan film. That's what that last part's about, is a Metroid fan film that everyone liked. And I'm looking at this like, you completely got Samus wrong. You got the entirety of Samus wrong in this whole fucking thing. There's only one character in Metroid, really, when we get down to it. And it's Samus. And you got her completely wrong in this fan film. Completely wrong. And, I mean, that's not even in the highlight. The highlight's about the UI, which is terrible. Which is terrible. It reminds me of all these movies where they'll have computers and it's like bleep bloop bleep bloop bloop bleep bloop bloop. Like no one would design a computer that makes bleep bloop noises every 3 seconds. It's infuriating. No one would ever do that. Hold on. I'm getting reports. This is this is the best. If you ever wanted proof that I've lost my mind, it's the fact that I've dedicated two separate 5-minute segments to talking to fictional Jessica Jones and seeing what and having her report on Fallout 4 as if it's like a real news story. Hold on, there's something going on in Boston. Like a super mutant attack. There's riots in Boston. Super mutants. This is crazy. Hold on, we're gonna go live to the streets of Boston with our reporter Jessica Jones. Jessica, can you? How are things going on in Boston right now? Oh, they're not very good, man. Jessica, you sound sick or something. It's so dumb. You okay down there? Oh, there's just a lot of commotion over here. I'm losing my voice. I really hope I get it back before November 20th on Netflix. Sure. That was the entire crux of the joke, was that I kept on making her reference the show that she's starring in. Not to mention, that's a character. It's not even, what's her name? Something, Kristen Ritter. It's not even her. She's Jessica Jones. And she's advertising her show constantly, like, yeah, you should watch my show. I love Netflix. It's so much longer than that, too. Yeah, another game that you're gonna have to be stoned off your ass to play. Who is gonna play this game? This is your VR showcase. Look it, you're a zombie taxi man. Really? Really? I mean, different strokes for different folks, but I think I'd sooner have a stroke than play that game. This is my predictions. Or not predictions, reactions, I guess you could say, to PSX last year. The terrible-ish show, and how much bad VR was shown. Just terrible. Just awful. Ridiculous. Let's look at the game. Let's look at the real meat of the issue here. Yeah. Is there anything wrong with this game? Now, sure, it is for a niche, whoa, boobs audience, but that doesn't mean the game shouldn't exist, and certainly not. Does this game objectify women? Well, maybe. But and the whole game is you're on a beach and you're playing volleyball and there's little mini games on the pool and they fall in water and you dress them up in silly outfits. I think you could feed them strawberries. I'm not really sure. It sounds kind of like a relaxing weekend at a beach house, really. That's not that offensive. But I can also see the side that this game is basically softcore porn. But that's this is when PlayAsia did their whole tweets of like, hey, you can buy Dead or Alive Extreme. We'll let you play it. Take that, social justice warriors. I still don't think there's anything wrong with this game. I just don't. I don't see it. It's whatever. That doesn't make any sense, does it? Those places are fine. You can go to any pool or beach in the world, pretty much, and you're gonna find women who are doing things that the women in these games are doing, and somehow that's okay, but this isn't okay. But in the real world, okay, not okay. Now, I don't really get it, but I will not argue that this game is constantly shoving boobs and butts in your face. They're just all up in your face, and you're just like, ugh, boobs and butts. Get out of my face. But is there anything wrong with that? Really? Do not. I keep pausing it and I have these dumbest faces. I'm really enjoying just miming along. Pretend that you cannot hear me.
Yes, Netflix is a great platform. I'm really happy with it. I watch Frasier reruns a lot.
Jessica.
I'm trying to talk to you about the very serious and important issue of synths in Diamond City.
It's very
Do you
important.
have any updates on this matter?
Any at all.
Okay.
And
What did they get distracted by? Oh, early reports are saying that it might have been my show, Jessica Jones.
My
Netflix
show!
right now. Go watch it.
I love how dumb it is. Oh my god, it's so dumb. So fucking stupid. It's so dumb. Oh, and I love that little animation. I couldn't figure out how to get like GIFs to work in OBS. So I just made 2 separate pictures of her mouth like moving. Had them alternate. So good.
Jessica, I don't know why I talk to you. It's just,
I don't know why.
you bring nothing. You bring nothing to the table. No problem whatsoever. And yep, there's that, where that goes now. This is a creature here. But it also looks like an anthropomorphized Dairy Queen Blizzard. Go to the evidence here. That is a Blizzard. Tasty treat. Yep. Doomsday is a Blizzard. Yep. Official Blizzard of the month for January. Doomsday. It's freaking tasty. And the removal of this right here.
Yeah, so good.
I just have one thing to ask of Nintendo in regards to this, and that is, how do you expect me to masturbate to this game if this isn't included? Like, this is, what am I supposed to do now? This isn't.
We still don't know. It's about Fire Emblem Fates removing the petting thing, which ended up being not a big issue because they just let you get all the bonus story and stuff anyway. You just couldn't pet people, which is weird on both sides. It's just weird.
Here, so what do I do? I mean, this is, why would you focus your attention? Like, there's not a single person. I cannot imagine this person.
Oh man. So I have an hour at least between 2 separate videos talking about The Witness because I love The Witness and I hate The Witness. Oh my god. Infuriating sometimes. Now I got a super meta because I got the show over itself and the chats twice. It's awesome.
Who would say, oh, the desert? That's my favorite area in The Witness. I would look at that person
It's awful.
like they're a psychopath. They could have straight up taken out a dead bird out of their pocket and bit off its head, and I would have been like, that's less weird than liking the desert the most out of all the areas. Because that's crazy. You are crazy if you think that. It doesn't make any sense to me. You got the treetops, you got the quarry, I'll give you. You got the twin snake place, you got the Tetris piece place.
This game's fucking good.
Those are amazing. Those are all logic puzzles. Those are all brain teasers, as opposed to this stupid finagling yourself in the world to figure it out. That's not I guess that's a puzzle, but it's not interesting. You're given no indication, and while the idea of having a puzzle game that doesn't tell you anything is interesting and is executed well, I don't think having all these aha moments is worth it in the end. It's not worth it when I'm actively mad at your game for just being a dickhead and not telling me what it's trying to tell me. It is, and I keep citing like all these references and things I had written.
Oh, yeah, this is worth bringing up because The Witness, it's got that whole idea of not telling you stuff, and that's great, but it gets to the point where it really should just kind of tell you some things because the puzzles themselves are held back because they can never explicitly state their rules to you, the player. You don't know 100% the rules ever. There's always a little bit of guessing, and because of that, it never can pile on more rules and more structures. it's like in a game like Disgaea or something, where there's just a lot of rules, and like if you move this guy here and you can do that and you can stack this person. If you weren't told any of that stuff at all, you wouldn't even know you could do any of it. But because you're told things, you can. And then you can start adding in complexity with different types of enemies in a game like Disgaea, or different characters and movesets and items and whatever. You can start adding things in because you've established that baseline. But because the witness never can officially, concretely establish rules, it cannot build upon them, and it's obnoxious because it can never build enough. It can never just build enough. One of my complaints about this game was there weren't enough puzzles, and what I mean by that is they just didn't get there. They could have gone further, but it kept focusing on this bullshit. Like the sound jungle was awful, just awful.
It's like, once again, back to sports. If you gave a kid a bunch of sports equipment for everything, it's got a basketball, it's got a baseball bat, it's got a badminton racket, it's got all tons of shit in there, and you're like, okay, play baseball.
This is what the witness does.
And the kid's like, I don't know how to play baseball. And you're just like, play baseball. Just play it, kid. Just figure it out. Just
figure it out, kid.
And so the kid picks up the basketball. He doesn't know any sports because he's a crazy kid. Picks up the basketball, and you look at him and you're like, nah. And after 6 hours, this kid finally figures out, okay, baseball bat, and I got the ball. Why don't you just tell the kid how to play the freaking game? I don't understand why your insistence on being smug. How am I the only one who's like, this is a problem, this is a problem? There were some instances where Sully was blocking the way, and I'm like running into him. Make a gif of that. I'm running into him, and he's not moving out of the way. And I go to jump, and Drake does this weird jump animation. I'm like, this is a 10 out of 10 for people? This game's fucking broken sometimes. And like you're jumping, or the times when you're not allowed to jump.
This is about Uncharted 3 specifically, and how I think Uncharted 1 through 3 really overrated and not super amazing. There's more Uncharted later, not to spoil what I think of 4.
There. Or you gotta jump where we want you to jump. If you jump there, you die. Here. But I only fell like 10 feet. Yeah, but you can't jump there. Over here, that's the 10 feet where you can jump. I know it's confusing. Just jump here. What? Fuck that game. I am so goddamn tired of Skyrim and Fallout getting away with this shit with their old engines and their poor everything. And I say this about these games all the time. There is only one thing that Skyrim or Fallout does better than anything else. Everything in these games is done better in another game, except for the open world. They do a phenomenal job at creating this world and filling out all these things and whatever. But if you want to play a game with, I don't know, actually a good plot, good storytelling, like even from a structural design of where you're not just standing, talking, and looking at someone, even from that standpoint, how about weapon variety? How about a good combat system that isn't shit? Come back to that. Enemy variety, even enemy AI is god-awful. Art direction, it's not that good. Circling back around to combat. Because while I enjoyed Fallout 4, it's got so many problems, and it mainly focuses on the combat. Here's my example. How many times has this happened to you in Fallout 4? You turn a corner, and there's a Mirelurk right there, and you start fighting him, and then he punches you in the face with his claw thing. And it does a lot of damage. So now you're in oh shit mode. But you can't run away, because that would make sense. But whatever, that's fine. You can't run away, good. Now how do you fight this creature? Oh, you run backwards while unloading clip after clip after clip into this Mirelurk, running backwards in a circle for minutes at a time. How many times has that happened to you? Because I guarantee you it's many times. And I don't know how you can say that's a good, well-designed combat system if that's a fucking thing that can happen. It doesn't make any sense.
Awful.
It doesn't any goddamn sense. But the real point of any of this is, why can't anyone give From Software a fucking award? I'm gonna lose my mind. Some people are like way too into this and way too pie in the sky. Like,
this is about the PlayStation 4.5K rumors.
Happening. You're not going to play, as I already said, Uncharted 4 in 4K.
Right.
Not unless some space wizards went
Space
back
wizards
in
didn't come.
time and told Sony how to make a super cheap GPU that was like 4 Titan X's SLI to get. They're like, no, it's not happening. That's not how money and GPUs and all this shit works. It's just not happening like that. Sorry. Best case scenario, in 2 years, in the fall, you get a PS4.5 that can play these games a little better and it upscales to 4K.
That I was wrong about the year, but I was right.
Best case.
Oh god, I don't even want to watch myself watch this.
I'm like really far away from my computer, like, I'm still watching.
This game's too scary. I think
Watching.
Pizza's here.
Pizza's here.
This game could be really cool if it wasn't so frustrating.
Oh god.
Oh, I don't like it at all.
No.
It's way too scary.
No, there's scary noises too. No.
I don't want to watch it. I don't even watch myself watch it.
Oh god, fuck. No. Yes, I mean, No Man's Sky, I'm not super hyped on it because if I get super hyped on it, I'm going to be disappointed probably. I'm worried about
Shocking! When was this recorded? In March!
how much of that is actually a game. Is that going to be interesting? What even does any of this mean? That's right. And so something happens with Chloe. And
I got all my stuffed toys, and I recreated the plot lines of Uncharted 1 through 3, even though I played 1 and 2 years ago and do not remember them.
Remember, I don't care because again, entirely forgettable. Because I literally forgot she was in Uncharted 2 when I started playing 3. And I'm like, I know her? I don't know who she is.
The fuck is she?
She's also the worst. Why would you pick her over Elena? You gotta be a ridiculous man person. I'm talking about one button in particular, that's Tracer's butt. And when I heard about this Tracer pose, I was like, what is she doing? She's going like this on the side? Like, there's nothing wrong with that, and there's nothing wrong with this. This is crazy. You can go to any beach anywhere and see the exact same thing that you'd see in the game, and somehow this is okay. This is wonderful. Perfectly normal behavior. But God forbid that a fictional character wear fucking tight pants and you get to see their butt. It's
Right.
ridiculous. And not to mention, if this parent had even paid half attention, we got this character, Diva, who's, let's just assume 17. I don't know.
I don't know. I still
in a
don't know.
skin-tight outfit, doing weird-ass sexy poses. This is okay. Did anyone look at the game? No one who was upset about this looked at any of the other characters and in any way, because you would immediately know it's like, well, why don't I have a problem with this? This character is a little girl. She might as well have a Hello Kitty tattoo. That's a sexy pose. That is a sexy pose. Now, you may not think that, and that's the inherent point.
My point.
That's a sexy pose. I think it is. You might not. You might think the Tracer pose is sexy. You might not. That's the whole goddamn point. Just because you think it's too sexual, just because you think it's even sexy at all, is up to you. You might have a thing for people wearing sombreros. That doesn't make everyone else have that. It's crazy. And the main point is pick your battles. For the love of God. You're gonna die on the Tracer butt fire? Which is a weird sentence. Alright, let's look at the changed one. Yeah, that's still sexy. Oh, but now it's appropriate. Now this is appropriate for the character. What the fuck are you even talking about? It's just a pose. You see her butt more in this pose. If people who were upset last week are pleased by this, you are the most confusing person to me. It's so good. It's so good. There's no other complaints I have. This game went from something like, oh, I guess I'll redbox it. Fuck, okay, fine. It's like, it went from an obligation to, I might pick this up when it gets cheaper because I'm so poor and sad.
Poor and sad.
I might actually pick this
So
up
fucking
and,
good, though.
and play again, which is something I never really have wanted to do with an Uncharted game before. And then we got Poplio, which is an anagram for poop lip. And it's very fitting because this Bidoof motherfucker is the worst and I hate him. What are you doing with this seal? People say, don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. And in this instance, you should throw this baby out with the bathwater. This is awful.
Throw it away.
Get rid of this creature. Trash monster. They also say, oh, don't club seals, this is bad. Club this seal. Club it right to death. This is the worst. I hate it. I hate it. Now, hoping for a Magikarp to Gyarados type of thing, probably not gonna get that with this disaster monster. Truly, it's not even cute. It's upsettingly, I hate it. Don't like it at all. And look at how this person plays the game. There's no commentary in this video, but they're just stopping.
The infamous Doom video.
Looking around. It's Doom. Just go fucking shoot things. Stop looking at a pole. It's unbelievable. Unbelievable. I don't know. It's so weird because you don't want to. I don't want to be like elitist. Like you gotta be good at games. No, you don't have to be good at games. But if you're gonna post a fucking video, don't stare at a goddamn pipe for 60 minutes. What are you doing? What are you doing?
Still not sure what they're doing. Still have no idea how anyone plays a game like that. Still very confused. Very, very confused. What is this?
No one plays Doom like this.
Turn back! Corrupted machines in the valley!
I laughed out loud in a theater with a bunch of people at this line. Turn back! Corrupted machines in the valley! What the fuck are you talking about?
It's so bad.
Could you have gotten anyone to re-record this? Oh, we're only going to E3 and showing this to millions of people. Let's just have Joe the intern record it on his free time.
I have to cross. I'm headed for the border.
Then may the goddess show mercy.
What? Like he's like in another fucking game. Then may the goddess show mercy. Like what? He sounds like NPC chatter that's like super in the background of an Assassin's Creed game that you like don't really hear, but it's mixed in with all the other crowd noise. That's what he sounds like. It's so bad. It's so bad.
Corrupted attacked the village.
Yes, and something worse. A demon.
A demon.
A demon!
What do you mean, a demon?
A demon!
It scuttled from the forest. Drove a group of watchers mad.
How'd it do that?
I saw, but I did not.
Look at even the presentation of this. Look at the presentation of it. It's so like Skyrim back and forth. It's so old. You're copying Mass Effect 1. Don't do that. Make your own thing. You're copying a game that came out 10 years ago almost. It's so, oh man.
I don't understand. Oh, goddess, protect us.
This is the best part of him running away.
Keep running for Mother's Crown. It's not far.
Come with me, or the demon will kill you.
I don't believe in demons, and I don't run when lives are at stake. Get out of here.
And look at her, like the animation.
You're crazy!
I don't believe in demons, and I don't run from danger. All right, lady. I don't know what the fuck was that. Laughably bad. All right, laughably bad. It's so bad. Bad.
How has no one mentioned how bad that stuff was? It was so terrible. Like your game is what? That shit was 15 years old. How poorly executed that was.
The rest of your game looks great. This looks like garbage. But then I'm just gonna cut. Alright, then you just cut as low as possible on the bottom of the Pikachu.
Here it is.
As possible. Because we're going to be making the zigzag pattern later. Boom.
Boom indeed. Boom.
Alright.
Indeed.
It's Mimikyu. And then you can even bend his little head. Which brings me to the real point here. Hawaii. It's supposed to be Hawaii or like Hawaii or something weird like that. And here's the problem with that Hawaii.
I still don't understand how you're supposed to say it.
You've been a state for 60 years, and I feel like I heard no one say Hawaii until like 5 years ago. Maybe not even that long ago. So I don't really understand like why'd you wait so long? I don't no one says, everyone says Hawaii. Okay? It took you 60 years to fucking say something? It's outrageous. This would be like if Alaska was like, held a press conference tomorrow and said, it's actually Alaska? No, fuck you, it's Alaska. You had so much time. Okay? If you go to work at an office and they call you Greg the first day, and you don't say anything, and then a week goes by where you're Greg, and a month goes by where you're Greg, and a year goes by where you're Greg, guess what? You're Greg now.
Greg now.
Okay?
So
You're
you are.
Greg now. This is exactly the plot of Jerry from Parks and Rec. You're just that person now. Okay? Hawaii? That's just who you are now. Like, I'm sorry, but you had 60 years. Like, on day one, maybe even 5 years in, you could have been like, hey guys, you're pronouncing our name wrong. No, you didn't say fucking shit. So this is what you get, Hawaii. It's got this interesting narration, like, this is the future, you could go into the vault, and da 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 da. But everything's trying to kill you. You can't focus on the narration. You can't be immersed in the story. It's constantly trying to throw enemies at you because it thinks you're going to get bored. It doesn't have any confidence in itself. This DLC could have 80% fewer fights or enemies in it. You know, 20% of the amount of enemies in it. And it would have been so much better. I mean, everyone has this experience with Fallout where you're fighting a Mirelurk, for example, and you're spinning in a circle.
This is my example I bring up every goddamn time.
Like strafe backwards to shoot it, and you shoot it 20 times. And this is a good 60 seconds of you spinning in a circle backwards fighting a Mirelurk.
Awful.
Imagine how stupid that is. Imagine playing Gears of War where that was how you fought every enemy. I don't see how this is Resident Evil. Resident Evil never had a scary demon lady do shit like that. That's never Resident Evil. This would be like if Paranormal Activity 5 or whatever came out and it was stylistically, tonally akin to The Shining. Like, it wouldn't make any goddamn sense. How would you... That's a found footage movie with like weird ghosts and stuff, and now you're making like The Shining. Like, it doesn't make any goddamn sense. This is my point. If Kojima came on a stage and presented this trailer, people would have ate that shit up with a spoon. 100%. 100%. I do not understand people shitting all over this game. This is exactly the dumb shit. Kojima could have come out with this, and everyone would have been like, well, that's weird, classic Kojima. I don't buy it. You're hating on this because you want to hate on Konami, and that's fine. They deserve it. And I was thinking about this.
I still agree with that. I still don't think Metal Gear Survive is that crazy or ridiculous or whatever. It's fine. This is overblown.
Even 20 BC, we were wearing shoes.
Put on some damn
Palmer
shoes.
Lucky, you're not Frodo Baggins. Put on some goddamn shoes. So I don't appreciate the no shoes. I don't like the no shoes. I think it's stupid. I think you're a dumb idiot. That's not it. No, I don't know. I think it's the blinding of this light. I can't see. I can't
fucked up the light.
see. Why is it so bright? Look at this. How is that even a thing? How is that even? Because I refuse to believe that this is that exciting that I need to pay so much money for it at the first stage. This is all early adopter shit.
Don't do it.
Doesn't matter if it's Oculus Vive or PlayStation VR. It's too early to really get on this. There are going to be so many people disappointed, I feel like. You're going to get it, You're gonna be excited about it. A weekend's gonna go by. You're gonna have played everything on the demo disc. Maybe
I
you
might have
picked
been
up
wrong about
Batman. You picked up one other game, and then you're gonna be like, okay, I guess I'm done with this. I just wasted $600 that now I'm sitting on. I could have bought something else with this. I could have bought every single game coming out this fall that's like a big marquee title for that same price. So that's my point. You don't need to buy this at launch. You can kind of wait and see. That's what I'm doing.
Double
There's nothing
green screen,
huge
man.
coming out, and maybe you're excited for Resident Evil 7. You want to play that all in VR. That's compelling. That's a full game. That's an actual game. Okay? Not a 5-minute tech demo. Not a fucking, oh, it's zombie crazy taxi. You can play it in VR. Like, all right, I guess I don't need to play that in VR. I don't understand. The idea of having to constantly move my head around while playing a game is not a fun one to me.
No.
It's not enticing to me. It's
No.
not interesting to me.
No.
I don't like why when I can sit down and play Dark Souls or even fucking any other goddamn game and be fully immersed in it already. I don't see the need for these little parlor trick Wii Sports, what was that, Wii Party or whatever, the one that came with the controller. I don't see the need for it. And it's just not there yet. This is a terrible Pokemon. So here's its evolved form, Brion or whatever. It's even worse. How did it get worse? How? Please, 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 please. How did it get worse? Now, I don't usually pick the water starter. Sometimes I do. But good God. I can't. Look at its dumb face. Its dumb face is screaming to be murdered. I cannot stand this Pokemon. It is the worst. It is the absolute worst. What is it even? Look at its dumb little nose and its dumb little eye. I like its mouth, actually. That's fine. Its mouth is fine. But everything else.
Just its mouth.
Hate it.
This
Pokemon is a disaster pile. And I don't think we should stand for it. Can we get a change.org petition going to just not have a water starter? We'll just delete that out of the game. The game starts, and here, pick your one of these starters, and you open up one, and it's the owl. You open up one, it's the kitten. The other one doesn't open, and it's like, what happened to it? I don't know. It's broken. I guess that Pokeball's broken. We don't get a water one. Oh well. And you're like, okay, I guess I'll just pick between these two because fuck this thing. It is so terrible. I can't even get it off my screen. It's awful. It's just awful.
This is just awful. I love how that's how I end it. But I'm gonna edit that down. I think here, back to the National NaNoWriMo Month tip. I think that's a good recap of the year. Some insightful things on why Skyrim's not that great, and Fallout's not that great, and VR's not that great, and a lot of things aren't that great. I didn't include why Bastion isn't great. That's also not great. Talked about Witness and why it's not great, and also why it is great. Some things I got cut out. Firewatch. I couldn't find the right clips that weren't super spoilery for Firewatch, but I really did not like where the plot ended up with Firewatch. Really hated it. Everyone in that park should be fired for just how incompetent they are. But that's just me. This has been the very, very self-indulgent episode. Oh my god. Incredibly self-indulgent. It's all about me. The best of. And then with National Novel Writing Month, the next month's going to be a little light on topics. The show might probably be a little shorter. Certainly won't be watching 25 minutes of myself anymore. I'm going to publish that video once I edit it down to like 13. Because some of that can go. Especially rewatching it again. Some of that can really go. We can trim that down. We can chop that right up, right? Batman v Superman, we can chop that up. Chop that up. Alright, let me say chop that up again. Chop that up. That's the show. I do this every Friday, 3 p.m. Pacific time. Twitch.tv/TheGameFanatics. I stream Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday on my channel. But again, November, just going to be Saturday and Sunday primarily. Doing stuff for Extra Life this next week. Viewer suggested games. Going to try and set up where you can play and beat me at Smash and Mario Kart. That should be fun. And yeah, I think that's it. Oh, that's twitch.tv/BenReacts, my main channel. No one's here. No one's ever here. Well, sometimes people are here. That's not true. I won't lie and say no one's ever here. But I will say, most of the time, the show's just for me, which is why I can have a self-indulgent episode. It's my show. When you have your show, you can do whatever you want. Now, more people will probably watch your show than my show, but that's fine. Maybe.